So you are happy or not today? You can raise your hand if you are happy, feeling relaxed after giving your examinations. Okay, okay. Yeah, I was okay. Some people are present here. I hope everyone is present and trying to learn something. So hopefully आज जैसे हमने डिस्कस किया कि जैसे खुशी शेयर कर रहे थे that we will be learning something uh, related to our extracurricular skills like presentations and how to present and all factors which we have to take care while doing a presentation. Whenever we present anything or speak anything in general, we are going to share a principle, some factors which will be common in all these things whenever you speak in front of any audience, whatever may be the content. Basically it can be any extempore, it can be any presentation. Mostly all of us need, most of the times we need presentation, like as we go ahead in our careers also. While we do interviews, we need to present ourselves, like we need to speak something, we need to explain certain things, certain principles. And also when you work in an organization also, then also you need to have all these skills of presenting. So presenting has various things, so आज हम उन सबको देखने वाले हैं. So let us try to take some time and let us try to learn and focus on certain things. All of you can try to hear, and I have a simple slide. All of you can take a screenshot or whatever of that, and maybe then you can try to remember whatever we discussed and try to work upon all those principles while we go ahead in our presentation. And the best thing about this whole thing is that we will be giving an opportunity to everyone to present, whether that will be in team or individual. Let us try to see that how we are going to plan. So सबसे अच्छा सीखने का तरीका वही है कि हम सब लोग आगे आए एंड वी जस्ट ट्राई टू showcase whatever we have learned. Maybe हम सब लोग पहले से ही बहुत कुछ जानते हैं. All of us are from, like all of us are in BTech, we do have all these things, all the events going on already, many things we are learning. But this is little off track, but still as part of that. तो हम सब लोगों को opportunity कभी कभी शायद नहीं मिल पाता है. So this, we are more or less thinking as a forum where we can present anything. So take this as an opportunity to come forward and present. And here your friends will be, most of the time we hesitate to present because someone is looking at us, or someone will say okay, you are not presenting in a nice way, or maybe someone will think about us, someone will judge us. So at least in this forum we expect all of us, there is not going to be any such thing. We can be open to all, we all are friends who are trying to follow certain good principles in life, who don't want to uh, who don't who want to appreciate others rather than who want to help others rather than trying to pull others legs. तो यहाँ पे एक अच्छा फोरम है जहाँ पे हमारे अच्छे फ्रेंड्स हैं जो एक दूसरे को सपोर्ट करेंगे, हेल्प करेंगे, एनकरेज करेंगे रादर देन एक दूसरे को डिस्करेज करने के. तो यहाँ पर सब लोग अपना you can be open while presenting, you need not to worry. So this is the biggest uh, advantage which I think of this forum. Because initially also in my days when I was in BTech, so I also used to, like all of us certainly, most of the people do have certain sort of stage fear kind of thing. तो कुछ कुछ तो होता ही है. Even I have done a lot of things in my school days also, like doing debates, GDs, and speeches, also coming forward in front of the big assembly. I hope आप सब लोगों को भी experience होगा कुछ ना कुछ. स्कूल में हम करते थे typically sometime news reading, those kind of activities are being done in schools days. So and most of us might have participated sometime or others. But sometimes I remember that even though I have participated many times, but whenever I used to go in front of the crowd, there used to be little sort of hesitations. How many of you have faced certain situations like this कि कभी कभी तो थोड़ा hesitation होता है, you feel little शेकी, थोड़ा सा तो ऐसा पैर कभी कभी होता है कि हाँ, ओके, sometimes we do face, like some people, I'm not telling about everyone, but yeah, many people whom I have discussed with, they do face these kind of challenges. So, and that happens because especially one thing only, कोई बताना चाहेगा हमें किस चीज का डर रहता है? What do we fear most when we present or when we are speaking in front of any crowd? What is that thing which make us a little shaky or little fearful? सब लोग शेयर कर सकते हैं अपने पॉइंट्स, जो भी आपको लगता है कुछ, और मे बी ट्राई टू थिंक अबाउट दो सिचुएशंस कि क्या हुआ था, मुझे क्यों डर लगता है या लगा था, व्हाटएवर. One common thing I find is like, yeah, audience judgment, correct? That people are going to judge me. They are going to think, oh, और स्पेशली हमें रहता है जब स्कूल में होते हैं तो वी हैव सम सॉर्ट ऑफ लाइक स्पीच है, हमने पूरा रट के याद किया हुआ होता है, एंड वी थिंक, ओ इफ वी फॉरगेट वन लाइन, इफ वी फॉरगेट समथिंग, देन इट इज गोइंग टू बी ऑल ओवर. फिर हम पूरा ब्लैंक हो जाते हैं. होता है कभी कभी किसी के साथ, मतलब I also have faced sometimes that we are totally blank, and that is the biggest fear which we have, right? This kind of fear we do have कि blank ना हो जाए totally, एकदम कुछ याद किया था and then we just forget. Especially in school days, this kind of thing is very common, I have seen. Correct? Is it the same experience with all of you also? Yeah, similar, at least not the same, something similar sort. Yeah. So here, what we are going to tell is that all of us are, none of us is going to actually judge each other. Judge in the sense that we expect all of us are in learning phase. देखिए, अपनी learning के लिए हमें बहुत inspired रहना चाहिए. There is one thing as like some people are overexcited, some people don't. You might have seen certain people, although they are not speaking something relevant, but they are very confident and they speak, and also other people know that he speaks something foolish only. But certain people are very confident in that. We need not to be in that category. We need not to be in that category. We need to be in a category where we speak something, some useful content, and all of us look at each other in a way that all of us are friends and all of us are going to help each other, rather than share something, oh, he or she is not able to speak, or she was fumbling while speaking, or kuch bhi aisa. Rather than all these things, try to be very frank, try to be take this platform as an opportunity where we can learn and grow. देखिए, हमें अपनी लाइफ में लर्निंग ऐसे ही बढ़ानी पड़ती है, हमें थोड़ा सा रिस्क लेना पड़ता है लाइफ में, थोड़ी सी उस चीज को भूलते हुए कि लोग मुझे जज करेंगे या क्या सोचेंगे. एंड दिस इज अ वेरी नाइस प्लेस टू स्टार्ट विद, because here 10-20 odd people are there, 10-15 who are good friends, all of us are, and all of us do also have respect for each other, because all of us are following spiritual principles, because यही spirituality का basis भी है कि अगर हम एक दूसरे को respect नहीं करेंगे as individual souls connected to God, अगर हम एक दूसरे का मजाक बनाने की या फिर वही टांग खींचने वाली चीज करेंगे, देर इज सम सॉर्ट ऑफ फन बिटवीन फ्रेंड्स, दैट इज डिफरेंट थिंग. बट उस फन को दूसरे की ग्रोथ में कभी भी आगे नहीं आने देना चाहिए, कि किसी हम दूसरे व्यक्ति की ग्रोथ को उस वजह से रोक रहे हैं, वो कोई पर्सन, वो डर की वजह से ही हम उसका मजाक बनाएंगे या फिर वो मेरा मजाक बनाएगा, ऑल दीज थिंग्स. उस डर की वजह से हमें एक एनवायरमेंट वैसा क्रिएट नहीं करना चाहिए. हमें एक पॉजिटिव एनवायरनमेंट क्रिएट करना चाहिए जहां पे हम एक दूसरे को हेल्प करें, मोटिवेट करें, एनकरेज करें, एंड वी जस्ट try to be like that, like we all of us have opportunity to present and take that opportunity nicely. So I also used to have certain these kind of things, but nowadays, because I have spoken in so many forums, so it has become a little sort of, now things are okay that I can continuously speak many places I can go. And certainly when there is big crowd, then certainly we do face some challenges. बहुत सारे crowd है, उसको handle करना, there is a different thing, that people are making noise, you have to make the audience attention towards you so that people are not distracted, कोई बीच में comment करता है. So many challenges are there which all of us, when we are presenting, we do have to tackle all these things, especially when you go in a class of engineers and speak something, there is certainly going to be someone in the class who is very smart. Have you seen such people that they make some good comments like kuch bhi hum bolenge, and they try to figure out some joke out of it, and you do feel, oh, what is that? होता है, आपने लोगों ने देखा होगा कि ऐसे लोग होते हैं that they are just ready to catch some little word and they are just ready to speak something. So we do have to face these challenges when we speak in such audience. So audience wise also things changes, but still the basic principle remains the same, that once you start practicing, once you become confident in speaking and this need not to be that you have to be very much like you speak continuously or you don't fumble, all these things are fine. The main thing is that once your basic thing is your content or the main way of presentation, you have understood that I want to explain certain things and this is the way I can explain and this is my pace, all these factors you take care and then you go ahead and practice initially and then things will become easy. So this is what I was going to share. So let us take all these things one by one and try to discuss certain things upon this. So these are basic parameters on which any uh, presentation which you may be giving, a college presentation in college, your project presentation or anything, spiritual content also, whenever you are speaking or whenever you are speaking in organization also, all these things are basic common factors which um, take part or which decides how good the presentation was. So the first one is introduction. So introduction means like you are going to discuss something which is relevant to the content. So sometimes people are very much in hurry initially. You might see कि कुछ लोग जो है start करने में बहुत परेशान रहते हैं, मतलब they are very very fearful in the beginning and they are not able to even introduce the topic that what they are going to speak about. So introduction is very very important, that you are able to tell your audience that this is something which I am going to discuss with all of you today. कुछ भी टॉपिक है, जैसे हमने आज डिस्कस किया that any session is there, let us take, or we discussed in your college time that we are going to discuss about Bhagavad Gita principles, controlling your mind or mind management. So the topic has to be very very clear that you are going to discuss about this thing and you clearly explain to your audience what sort of content you are going to give, so that the people are very much clear about the flow of your slides, how you are going to flow in your presentation. So this part, because uh, as you know very commonly that uh, first impression is the last impression. This is very common saying, although does not fits everywhere, but especially in certain cases it does fit. That जब आप कोई interview दे रहे हैं, you are going to give to a particular company or particular person only once. So that does have an impact, that initially how you go ahead, how you present yourself, that does make an impact. So it could be when you speak in any interview, they might ask you your introduction. So that introduction also, मतलब उस समय उस पीपीटी प्रेजेंटेशन को आप उस इंट्रोडक्शन उस इंटरव्यू से आप मैप करके देखेंगे, तो वो आपका इंट्रोडक्शन मींस especially your body language also plays. Body language here is shown at the later part, but especially when you speak of an interview or presentation, the way you are dressed also, that does make a sense. Like you are dressed in a decent way, so that the clothes, the way you are dressed, that does convey a lot of message. If you are in very formal setting that you are going to give an interview, then probably you should be very nicely dressed according to that situation, that you are dressed in a formal way and dress is proper, it is ironed properly. All these factors are also like people do judge upon all these things also when you are going in an interview or such kind of thing. And how you move ahead, how you walk in a confident way, or you are just looking here or there, that does also carry a lot of meaning, that you are confident and you are. So it does not mean that you have to be confident from beginning, or things grows in life. मतलब ये चीजें ऐसे नहीं होती कि पहली बार में you become perfect. You start slowly slowly. So that's why that you have to start right now. If right now we start doing certain things, कि कुछ हम present करना start कर रहे हैं, we are giving certain uh, interviews, or whenever whatever is the opportunity given to speak, so then we do take that opportunity in a nice way, given it is not something which is contradicting or conflicting with our studies or main our lifestyle or whatever. तो अगर हमें जो भी opportunities मिलती हैं, we do take them and we try to progress in our life. तो हमें सब लोगों को ध्यान रखना चाहिए all these things, that all these factors also have great impact. Because you might see, if someone is dressed in a very like uh, someone is dressed in the very dirty clothes, his clothes are not proper, shirt or whatever is having so many of the, ऐसा लग रहा है कि 15-20 दिन से कहीं पे पड़ी हुई थी और उसको उठा के पहन के आ गए. So it does not carry a good, like good notice to the audience. तो वो देखते ही वो सोचेंगे how is going to speak. People will not even see you speak anything, because they will just keep on murmuring or keep on thinking कि किस तरह का person है ये, तो इतना गंदा है, इतने गंदे clothes पहन रहा है, he is not careful, he is careless. So आगे की सब चीज खत्म हो जाती है. So ऐसा, and the way you speak also, the way means the content. One should be very much while speaking, you will see people who are very much in lot of worry or in anxiety, they speak very fastly. Have you noticed this? जो भी लोग बहुत कॉन्फिडेंट नहीं होते हैं, वो जल्दी जल्दी बोल के सब कुछ खत्म करना चाहते हैं इन एनी सॉर्ट ऑफ प्रेजेंटेशन. आप लोगों ने अपने लिए भी नोटिस किया होगा, कभी ऐसा अपॉर्चुनिटी आया होगा. सो यू माइट हैव सीन, हैव यू नोटिस दिस हैपेंस दैट वी ट्राई टू स्पीक very fastly, or people who are not very confident, they just speak very fastly and just want to end. They are not very much confident. You will see confident people, they speak at a pace uh, which can be understood easily by the audience, जिसको audience भी समझ सके. तो pace को भी हमें बहुत ध्यान रखना चाहिए कि किस pace से audience उसको जो हम content present कर रहे हैं वो समझ सकती है. So according to audience also, you may have to change your pace, and along with pace, you might have to change your language also sometimes. That sometimes when the language, in the sense, if the audience is something like more which can which wants to hear Hindi, or so sometimes you can mix. You might have seen in our presentation also sometimes that we do speak Hindi sometimes, so that it certain points hits more. But it is not, I'm talking about interview, I'm talking about a general presentation. So हमें interview में हम अलग तरीके से देख सकते हैं that everyone is speaking in English or speaking in a particular language, mainly English only, for our sake. So then we do speak in that, but never take language as a barrier. If you think that you are not very confident in English, start slowly, doesn't, do not worry about that. लेकिन लोग ना समझना चाहते हैं. अगर आप कभी भी कुछ प्रेजेंट करते हो तो लोगों को फर्क पड़ता है कि आप समझा कैसे पा रहे हो, समझा कितना पा रहे हो, रादर देन कि आप लैंग्वेज कौन सी यूज कर रहे हो. इफ यू आर जस्ट, ऐसा नहीं कि आप कुछ समझा नहीं पा रहे हैं तो, और बस इंग्लिश में बोले जा रहे हैं और कुछ भी समझा नहीं पा रहे हैं, दैट यू आर सिटिंग इन अ इंटरव्यू, someone is asking you a question, you are not able to express those emotions nicely in English. आप नहीं कर पा रहे हैं somehow. Let us take for the scenario. तो उसमें आप ऐसा नहीं सोचिए कि मैं तो कुछ भी हो, मैं हिंदी नहीं बोल, until and unless the total overall our audience who is going to hear, or the interviewer, they do not know Hindi at all, or they do not want to hear Hindi at all, they have given such instructions, do not worry about that. Go ahead and speak certain sentences 1-2 sentences in Hindi so that your point is taken home. Main thing is that point should be conveyed very nicely. बाकी चीजें मतलब उतना मैटर नहीं करती. अगर आप अपनी चीज को, अपना कंटेंट को आप अच्छे से समझा पा रहे हो, then language becomes secondary. It does not mean that you are speaking in a, you might have seen even in uh, big news channels, whenever they are speaking, I'm talking about Indian context, right? So whenever they speak in English, the total channel are like, whatever you may see, big channels, Times Now or whatever, they speak everything in English, but in between, even the uh, even the presenter there, he tries to speak certain words in Hindi just to make the point hit hard. कोई भी चीज, कोई भी स्लैंग अगर यूज करना है, मतलब स्लैंग इन द सेंस कुछ नॉर्मल कॉमन वर्ड्स, यूज होने वाले वर्ड्स को, so they even speak that also in Hindi sometimes. So that is something which but we need to take care of this point very nicely. मतलब इस चीज को हमें गलत जगह पर यूज नहीं करना है कि हम कुछ भी बोल रहे हैं जहां पे नीड नहीं है उसका. तो ये हमें थोड़ा सा केयरफुल रहना चाहिए कि हम कैसे समझा पाए. तो हमें कॉन्फिडेंट रहना चाहिए दैट I'm going to explain certain things. I'm going to explain certain points, principles, or whatever our theory. So I am not confined to speak it in a particular language. Language should not be a barrier. So that is one thing. And slowly you just speak certain times, then you will be able to express most of the thing in English or whatever language. So that happens, but it does not restrict us most of the time. Then more specifically going to the presentation, two things are design and content. So if the presentation, if the background of the presentation, if the fonts there which are being used are very, like, they are hitting the audience, means you are able to relate to them. And one thing in PPT design is that uh, initially when we are new to all this, we think that every slide I'm going to make in a different way. I'm going to put something here, and I'm going to make it very, very colorful. But actually, if you go deeply into the analysis, the thing is that the design has to be common throughout your presentation. At least whatever the major डिजाइन इज देयर दैट यू आर प्रेजेंटिंग, मतलब कुछ एक तरह का बैकग्राउंड है, उसमें चेंजेस हो सकते हैं, उसमें वेराइटीज हो सकती हैं, बट ऐसा नहीं, ड्रास्टिक चेंजेस नहीं होने चाहिए दैट योर पीपीटी इज जस्ट टोटली ड्रास्टिकली चेंज्ड विद इन 1 slides to 2 slides like that. इट मे बी रिक्वायर्ड इन सर्टेन केसेस जहां पे आपका सब कुछ चेंज हो, सब कुछ अलग अलग स्लाइड पे अलग अलग डिजाइन हो, दैट इज for different cases. But normally whenever you are going to present in any organization or any such forums where you have made a PPT, then the main thing is that you have to keep the main background or something in that very common throughout the whole slide, that this is one theme which I'm commonly maintaining between the whole presentation, like that. So ये एक चीज हमारी रहती है. Then next thing is content. The way you put content, that also makes a lot of difference. It is a journal guideline then whenever you make any presentation. So to make the presentation more effective, there has to be less and less of the written words. मतलब ऐसा कुछ लोग करते हैं, मतलब कभी कभी ऐसा हो जाता है beginning में, that they have filled the whole slides with words. मतलब ऊपर से लेके नीचे तक उन्होंने बस लिखा ही हुआ है, and people don't take interest in reading all these words. So your words have to be very, very precise there. मतलब जितने आप minimum words में convey कर सकें चीजों को, you have to take some, especially this, or whenever any technical presentation is there, then you have to take care that you have to mention certain things which are more important, like kuch numbers hain ki, like let us say you did some experiment. So the main thing in presenting a experiment using a presentation is you present a slide which have table of all the experiments which you have done, all the values which have come this way, all for x y z whatever. तो उस तरह से कोई भी हम कंटेंट को डिसाइड कर सकते हैं, rather than writing it in word format that this was experiment was being performed, x has the following value. Don't use all these things, and never write like big paragraphs. That does not qualify for a good presentation, unless the purpose is different. Like when purpose is just for reading only, कभी कभी ऐसा हो सकता है कि हमें पूरा पढ़ना ही है, उस तरह का हमारा कुछ work है, so then that is another thing. But otherwise, when you are presenting in a forum, whether it is technical or something, then you cannot fill whole slide with words only and ask people just go through that and read it. Sometimes what happens, I have seen that some people initially, when in college days, I remember when we used to have project presentation, then people used to do that. They used to fill whole slide with words, and they just used to read from top to the bottom in a monotonous tone. Have you seen that sometimes? Does it look very well? ऐसा अगर कोई बस मैं स्लाइड ऊपर से नीचे तक पूरा पढ़ता रहूं, हाउ डज इट साउंड? दैट डज नॉट साउंड लाइक अ प्रेजेंटेशन. मतलब जैसे होता है ना, लाइक समटाइम्स some politicians are there and they have a paper in front of them and they are reading, just looking at that, ये man never whatever they read it. So that does not create some sort of happiness in the audience में कुछ आता ही नहीं है feeling emotions. लेकिन अगर आप presentation को concise रखेंगे, and you see good speakers, like good people who are good speakers, like our current Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, he at least he has influenced a lot of people by his speeches, right? Because he speaks in a very enthusiastic way, tries to figure out some new words, some new sentences, something which he use commonly, something new every time he creates, and uses different tunes while speaking. मतलब जैसे यहाँ पे इसमें लास्ट में भी है मॉड्यूलेशन, वॉइस मॉड्यूलेशन, दैट यू डू नॉट स्पीक इन अ मोनोटोनस वे, कि आपकी एक टोन है उसी में आप बोले जा रहे हैं, दैट जैसे पुराने जमाने में कोई न्यूज पढ़ रहा हो, उस तरह से न्यूज रीडर के जैसे नहीं, दैट introduction, PPT design, PPT content, coverage, teamwork, flow, accuracy, body language, voice modulation, conclusion. Just speak in a same way without any gestures, without any ups and downs in the voices. So then uh, it has not to be too much. मतलब voice modulation ऐसा नहीं कि आप you make it extra or over so that people just already understand कि ये तो कुछ fake जैसा है. Do not try to make things fake, कि fake लगे लोगों को that he's just trying to, or she is just trying to create it. She is not speaking in a natural way. Be natural, but do take care of this modulation, that you speak sometimes some point is there, then you speak it with a lot of force. The important point is there, then you speak in a way which is more powerful and catching the attention of the audience, like that. तो ये चीज हमें एक इम्पोर्टेंट ध्यान रखनी रहती है. Then coverage is next point, that your presentation is there, then whatever you have decided, the coverage should be good enough. The coverage should cover all the important points which should be there. ऐसा नहीं है कि अगर हमें कंटेंट कम लिखना है, इसका मतलब ये है कि मैं जो इम्पोर्टेंट फैक्टर्स हैं उन्हीं को डिस्कस ना करूं, बस कुछ कुछ एक दो वर्ड्स डिस्कस कर दूं और फिर जो इम्पोर्टेंट चीजें हैं उसको डिस्कस ना करूं. Just give me a minute. Huh? Okay, sorry. So I got a call. Urgent. So we were discussing about coverage. That coverage has to be taken care also in a nice way. That you do cover all those important points जो भी हमें करने हैं, जो भी उस पर्टिकुलर एक कोई आपको चैप्टर दिया गया है, उसको पढ़ना है, उसमें जो भी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स हैं वो आप कवर कर रहे हैं, यू आर नॉट स्किपिंग इंपॉर्टेंट फैक्टर्स और इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स टू डिस्कस. और मेन चीज क्या होता है कि मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम व्हाट यू हैव टू डू इज यू हैव टू राइट फ्यू थिंग्स, यू हैव टू राइट हेडिंग्स मोस्टली, and then expand on them while you speak. Should not be like you speak everything whatever is written only, जिस बारे में हम पहले भी बात कर चुके हैं. दैट ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि जो हमने लिखा है बस वो हम बस पढ़ के बोल दे रहे हैं एंड दिस इज द वे आई प्रेजेंट. नो, दैट looks little childish only. So we may have to sometimes in some very formal kind of settings that may be required that you speak only whatever is written, but hardly that happens. Especially in case when you have to present to explain certain things. और ऐसा नहीं कि हर एक स्लाइड में ऐसा करना होता है, कुछ स्लाइड ऐसी भी होती हैं जहाँ पे आपको सिर्फ पढ़ना ही होता है. दैट इट डज नॉट carry much important thing, it carries whatever you have just written there, you read and just move ahead. You might have seen this kind of thing sometimes whenever I do sessions. So हम कुछ चीजें पढ़ते हैं, कुछ चीजें हम explain करते हैं, कुछ चीजों को हम छोड़ भी देते हैं, that they are time is less, because that also has to be taken care, that whatever time limit is there while presenting, you have to take care of that also, that हम अपने time को exceed ना करें. Because if you are speaking in a way on the points which are not very critical and you take most of the time in that, then whatever is critical you will not be able to cover those, your time will be up. Because everywhere wherever you are presenting, it will be limited by time many times. बट हम जब इनिशियली अब ये रखने वाले हैं इसमें ये टाइम वाला हम बाउंडेशन इतना स्ट्रिक्टली नहीं रखेंगे, सो दैट ऑल ऑफ अस हैव गुड अपॉर्चुनिटी टू प्रेजेंट. बट स्टिल in one sense we may need to learn, because all of you might have seen I always try to finish session within 1 hour or like maybe 5-10 minutes, ऊपर नीचे ज्यादा नहीं, so that ऑडियंस इज ऑलवेज देयर टू हियर अस ऑल्सो. मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि बस हम बोल रहे हैं और सब लोग भाग गए ऐसा, क्योंकि आप तो खत्म ही नहीं कर रहे टाइम पर चीजों को. सो दिस ऑल्सो हैज टू बी टेकन केयर. So all these things are there. The next thing is teamwork, especially if you are presenting in a group, then it has to be seen like a team presenting certain things, that चार लोग हैं टीम में या दो लोग हैं, both are equally involved in making the presentation and speaking. One person is speaking few parts and the other person is speaking certain other things, and that way it is equally, or at least in some proportion it is divided. Should not look away that कि एक टीम में चार लोग हैं और सिर्फ एक बंदा है, एक व्यक्ति है, he is speaking everything or she is speaking everything, and rest three are just looking at his face and it represents a team. That does not happen actually. Then it may have to be changed कि वो टीम के लीडर हैं and he is given the responsibility only to speak, then that is fine. Otherwise when it is a teamwork, then that everyone is expected to participate, then it should happen that everyone is participating in some way or other. So that also has a lot of importance when you work in a team, and working in a team especially matters when you go ahead in organization, as I have told multiple times. So the next thing is flow means your presentation is moving ahead in right direction, that it is going from point 1 2 3 4 and then ending at 4, not like something randomly you are picking out of the context and speaking. So it should be related, the slide which I am presenting should be related to the previous slide. Some sort of flow is there, that I am telling before moving to the next slide, that now why I am coming to this particular point, because in the last month we discussed this. So it should be very systematic, or that's what it means. जैसे हमारे सिलेबस में भी कोई भी चैप्टर्स होते हैं, so they are taken in a very systematic manner. Like ऐसा नहीं होता है कि हमें एल्जेब्रा पढ़ाए जाने से पहले, ट्रिग्नोमेट्री पढ़ाए जाने से पहले पूरा इंटीग्रेशन पहले सिखा देते हैं. साइन एक्स साइन स्क्वायर एक्स कोस एक्स का इंटीग्रेशन आपको पहले सिखाया जाएगा, और साइन एक्स कोस एक्स होते क्या है ये बाद में सिखाया जाएगा. ऐसा नहीं हो सकता. You must be knowing about trigonometry before going into the integration, differentiation, all these things, because those functions are being used there. So इस तरह से it has to be in a flow. Accuracy means you are speaking to the point, you are speaking about your content only, you are not going here or there. Like जैसे कभी कभी होता है ना कि हम डिस्कशन से बाहर चले जाते हैं, वी गो अवे फ्रॉम द एस्ट्रे फ्रॉम द डिस्कशन. हम कुछ बात कर रहे थे, वी वर डिस्कसिंग सर्टेन थिंग्स, वी आर having a presentation of mathematics where we are discussing on integration, differentiation, and suddenly out of the context something came in our mind, some point hit us, and we start speaking about chemistry, some reactions there, or some समथिंग आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स. तो वैसा नहीं होना चाहिए, सब चीजें एक एक्यूरेसी में होनी चाहिए, एक्यूरेट ही चीजें हमें बोलनी है, लाइक वी स्पीक टू द पॉइंट. सो body language, we do have discussed that we do speak using sometimes, like we should speak dress, I have told already. And then you should be looking at your audience. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि आप नीचे देख रहे हैं और बात कर रहे हैं. You should be looking at the face of your audience when you are speaking to the audience, and you should not be looking continuously at one person only. You should be, if when you are giving a presentation to, let us say, some 30 or 40 odd people, then you have to look around so that everyone is seeing that कि हमसे बात कर रहे हैं, he is presenting to me also, not speaking to some simple person. And this is something which happens very commonly, especially when we are initially beginning all these things. Then it happens that कि हम बस एक ही person को देख के पूरा presentation देते रहते हैं, जो हमें जहाँ पे देखना comfortable लगता है, that he is reacting in a proper way. लेकिन ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. We have to look around to all the people, see, try to make everyone interested and present our content. So this is, and then last is conclusion, that we present everything and then conclude also in a nice way, that what is the take home point, that when we discuss initial session that how to control mind effectively, at the end we have a conclusion that ABC is the formula: A for good association, B for books, C for chanting. So you remember this ABC formula and try to apply in your life. So that way everything has to be concluded in a very nice way कि जिससे audience समझ में आ पाए कि क्या चीजें हमें ध्यान रखनी है. So all these things are basically the wide range. is मतलब there is no end to all these things. लेकिन this is something, some basic points which all of us can take care while making a presentation or speaking or doing some sort of interview. All these things we can take care. Okay, so now I would end, and I'm open to certain questions for 5-10 minutes. I can take any questions if there are any. किसी का भी कोई doubt है कुछ भी, they can